and Learn podcast, hosted by Yuliya and Ina, friends, colleagues, passionate teachers and learners. In this series of cozy talks with a cup of tea or coffee, we talk about how we live and learn, move countries, adapt to change and mentalities, encourage and teach. While polishing our own understanding of learnability, we find support in the 4 pillars of Live and Learn philosophy, which include growth mindset, expat life, language acquisition, and skills development. Join us. Enjoy, live and learn.
Hey. Happy to see you. Happy vacation.
Thank you. I know that you are not on vacation this year now.
Yet.
We will all envy you, I think, when you go on holiday and everyone else, teachers, coaches, all the helping professions come back to work and you'll be enjoying your vacation. I sincerely hope you will enjoy it and we will be envying you here back to work.
I'm pretty much against the concept of being envious or envy. I'm celebrating this opportunity that other teachers and professionals have at the moment. It has been established in my understanding since early childhood that the summer is the time out of school. And then when started studying in university, that was the same thing. And when I was teaching in the university and was teaching in university in Ukraine, that still was the idea that you have 56 days of official vacation. 56 days which you cannot take any other time, only this and this only. And this craving for summer was always associated with summer vacations from university, from school. And therefore, there were the autumn and spring semesters. Here in Germany, it's quite the opposite because the semesters are summer semester and winter semester. We've been working on and we continue working during the summer semester. So I do not have now this association of summer and vacation, and it is a cultural and cognitive mindset shift for me. What about you?
That sounds pretty weird what you're saying, because after so many years of sticking to the same routines and the same circle of year, then shifting to something absolutely different must be hard. It would be hard for me. As I grew up in the family of teachers, female teachers, my grandma was a teacher, my mom was a teacher, and so in summer, as you say, 56 days of summer vacation was something that I was used to having all over my childhood. So when we had summer vacation at school, my mom also would have her summer vacation and would go somewhere and have rest. It wasn't like having just 2 weeks, 14 days, 10 days in a row that some parents might have and had to somehow adapt to this time and find time to spend the vacation together with their kids that go to school and have this summer vacation. In our family, it was always a very relaxing time. Apart from probably my dad having to find this time to go somewhere together with us, as he wasn't a teacher. But with our mom, it was always very relaxed because she always had this holiday time. As a teacher myself, I also always had this summer vacation and never worked in summer until I think 2014, when the currency exchange rate changed and I couldn't afford not working in summer anymore. But that's another story. Now it's a matter of choice, because I was thinking of just having a summer vacation, spending time in Italy, relaxing. But then I thought, oh, it would be a pity to interrupt the course with some of the students who are adults and who want to continue the course. I am actually keen on having lessons with them. So no, I don't have such a full schedule as I normally do, September to May or to June. It's more relaxed. I work fewer hours a day, but I still do have some lessons. The only thing is that I chose to work in the hottest hours during the day when I'm just staying inside and can work during this pomeriggio time when everything is closed around. So anyway, it's too hot at sea. And still there is the weekend when we can go to the sea for the whole day. It's pretty much relaxing from the point of view of organizing the routines during the day and the week. Anyway, I choose to work because I love doing what I do and just choose not to work so many hours as I normally do during the school year.
Do you think that this fancy term for fancy new word, workation, is applicable here? Because I understand that workation is working during your vacation time, or having a vacation and work at the same time. So to me, this is quite an alien concept because I do think that vacation is when you totally forget, switch off, completely out of your daily routines, your daily messages, emails, corporate emails, and all this stuff. So that's like my idea of the vacation is a digital detox. What about you? What's workation? Can you call what you're having right now as a workation?
What you're saying is very much aligned with the etymology of vacation. I just checked, and vacation comes from Latin vacare, be unoccupied. And so it pretty much went through all the development of the language through late Middle English, from Old French, or from Latin, from being unoccupied. That's it. The meaning hasn't changed throughout time. And so, yeah, all right. Then we have, in English, we have words like vacant, free, unoccupied, and so on. So here the meaning hasn't shifted. Luckily, not so interesting, but
the first word that we've been checking over the year, even more than a year now, the first that didn't have the etymological shifts.
Yeah, the concept that still keeps us within this framework of not being busy, being unoccupied, not occupying our time with work-related stuff. Okay. Anyway, for me, workation is also quite weird, I would say, because I rather stick to the concept of life balance, as we discussed in one of our earlier episodes, and not even work-life balance. We'll link it in the show notes so that you can get back and listen to it. There was an interesting concept of not only work-life balance, but sleep-life balance, and that all refers to the things we're trying to discuss here to be fit physically, emotionally, mentally. But in order to do so, what we need to do, I believe, is to occupy, let's say, our time with our life, with the things we love doing. If it's not like that, if work is just hard stuff that we have to do to earn the living, that old concept of work as opposed to free time or hobbies. In my life, I can't even say I really have hobbies, because what I do for work is something I do because I choose to, because I love doing this. And when people ask, what's your hobby as different from work? What do you do for work? And then what are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time that is not occupied with your working activities? I can't even say that. Well, I do some of the things in my free time that I don't do during lessons, but I can't say that these are really activities I'm looking forward to finally doing when I'm free from work, if you see what I mean.
Well, I would actually say that there is an activity that I'm really looking forward to do, which is opposed to work, and that would be seaside, swimming basin and playing beach volleyball and so on. Because even when we do those summer vacation types of the activities in the city, you still have this feeling that you are in the city. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it depends whether a person can choose to live as well in a place that allows for all those activities that a person wants to be doing during the week, during the day, if you have time. Not always are we lucky to live in the environment that completely satisfies our needs of doing whatever we choose to do during the working week, let's say. That's why we do these weekend escapes or something of the kind. Yeah, we can do that anyway during the working semester, if you wish, yeah, or a longer period of time when we are occupied, when it's not a complete vacation. Yeah, so that's why coming back to this workation concept, I think it doesn't apply to me because when I think of not working at all during summertime, I still have this idea, it would be a pity actually interrupting interrupting some of the courses. It would be a pity just to spend time completely without this part of my life, which is a part of my life, as important as going to the seaside, as important as cooking fresh seafood or whatever, as important as going on morning runs, yeah, which I also don't interrupt. I just change the environment where I do that, and I love all the places where I have been jogging.
Funny enough that when we're talking about summertime, there is always this feeling for, as well as we said, teachers or coaches or academician, right? The feeling that you don't have classes, so you can do something that you were postponing all the time because you were overloaded. And this is, again, something that I posted yesterday that I would quote here, that we need to make the concept of overwork, stop glamorizing this concept of overworking, because being too much under pressure, too much under deadlines and so on, that's simply not healthy mentally, psychologically. And this idea of finally having the opportunity, I don't know, to write an article and interrupt it. Or I know people who are dreaming to write their book and they can only, have this opportunity when they're on their holidays. Or I don't know, to finally, read a book which is not professional development. So to read something like lighter and, finally to read some, detective or romantic story or whatever, something that most probably there is no time to read during this time, during the working time. So for me, that's always been an opportunity to learn a new language. So like all the summers that we were free and we had to have this vacation time only within these 56 days on a national level, like we couldn't start a day further or earlier. You always dream, okay, so I have the first 2 weeks or 1 week of, having the summertime, and then what am I supposed to do? What to do, what to read, what to learn, where to go. So most of the languages that I've learned in my life, I learned during the summers.
Yeah, and is that a workation in this case, or a studycation or whatever? When I first came to Reggio Calabria to learn Italian, what we learned about, like, as a term for what we were doing here in Italian was called Vacanza studio. And it perfectly explains and describes what it is. It's a vacation and it's learning, studying, Vacanza studio. And yes, being at the seaside, relaxing as well as learning a new language is an activity. Okay, for someone who loves this sort of stuff, yeah. For someone who doesn't, it can be a disappointment. Like, you're on vacation and then they make you learn some stuff. It's not you choose to be learning it, and finally you have this time, you've got this perfect environment to learn the language in the place where people speak it, and everything that we usually, even in some of our episodes, describe as the perfect learning environment, an opportunity to learn both from native speakers and at the university level, following all the SEFRA levels. And still, for someone who is not quite into it, it could be a disaster. Yeah, so that's a matter of choice, of preference, of liking.
For me, that also was the opportunity to be a learner again, to have my cap of the teacher off and put it aside a little bit, and to put a cap of the learner, because when you're teaching all the year round, it's super relevant to feel yourself on the other side, right? Not to forget how much time, how much effort it takes to go through, to see where help is needed, to be able to ask for the help when learning, or to find new ways or solutions. Every time I was studying a language, I was also looking for new tools, new apps, new books, new methodologies through the language I was learning, and I was trying to see how I can incorporate that. I was trying to look how other teachers teach, what their methodology is, what their tricks and techniques are, and I think it is not only something that you learn as the subject, like French, German, Italian, Spanish, but also you're being in an environment where you're studying methodology and attitude and answers, culture, so many things. So that's why I keep on saying that it's a learning journey, even if it's a teaching journey as well.
That's that famous CPD that in this case and done in this way is the way to go, really.
CPD is as in continuous professional development, and as in lifelong learning in the end. Yeah, so we were talking about CPD and this seeking for continuous professional development when we were on vacation. So we share the same attitude, right? So we learn by learning. Learning about the new culture, or more about the culture that we are at, and trying to enjoy, compare, contrast, but still in a very relaxed mode. So one of the summers I spent in Macedonia, so I had to study. I didn't study at the university there, but that was pure summertime. But by the end of this time, I already was speaking fluent A1 Macedonian, I think. Another summer was a program for, as you said, study vacation, so séjour académique. Voilà. Donc, I had first year studying French from the environment, from the family I stayed with. And another summer, it was a full-time course on French B1, I think, or B2, I don't even remember, for the whole months, and we had quite a rough schedule. So we had like 4 classes, an hour and a half each per day, all 5 days per week, like 80 hours, I think. That was extreme to me, and 2 more summers in Italy together. And last summer I was studying, two summers ago I was studying German. So for me it is somehow correlated, to study a new language and to study and to enjoy the summer.
I also remember one of the summers when you were learning how to draw, I think. Was it in summer?
That was just after my PhD defense, or before that, because my head was overloaded. And yes, I did go to study portrait drawing because I just couldn't think no more. I had a full-time job. I had extra classes on top of that, and I was writing. I was intensively right, and I was preparing to defend my thesis, and my head was about to blow. I really appreciate those 2 hours per week that I just switched my head off completely. That was pure meditation. I was just thinking how the pencil goes, or how the lines correlate, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's another proof of just living and learning. Yeah, nothing new to our loyal listeners, and maybe just a good illustration to those who've recently joined us. Yeah, this is how we live and learn. And in this period of time when we are unoccupied, which means we are on vacation, anyway, we choose to do something that gives us new experience, where we can learn something new, learn a new skill, learn a new language, learn how to drive or to draw or to play a musical instrument, whatever. Another good example, I think, is what kids have at summer camps, where they have a chance to try different activities and then maybe choose something they would like to continue doing during the school year. And I think bringing something of the new experiences further on with us after a vacation could connect the dots between what we just try making the first steps, and then probably choose to be doing more continuously, more substantially, I don't know, and continue living and learning like that.
What you were just saying reminds of our little discussion with one colleague of mine, and he asked, so when did you decide what kind of activity you fell in love with that you chose your profession? And I was just like, okay, I was challenged with that question. So I said, okay, I will answer group dynamics. Why? Because I'm the eldest of 3 other kids in the family, like 4 kids, right? And 3 are the younger ones. So I always been tutoring and tutoring them since 6 or 7 years of age, because they were just having the same school subjects or tasks, so I was the one to guide them. So that was always 101. But when I actually first time in summer camp, I was 18 years old, and I tried my first time being a guide. The first time in my life when I was 18 years old. So that was like when you turn 18, you can apply for this position. So that was my first paid position actually in my life. So I had 40 kids of 10 and 11 years of age. And what I really felt in love, and answering the question of my colleague, is the group dynamics. Because it's not like teaching one person 101 or just trying to motivate them, but you need to deal with 40 people, 40 kids who didn't know each other, and what a beautiful journey they had during those 21 days of their camp experience. How they became friends, how they stood up against bullying, how they created some kind of activities, friendships, how they tried to learn new activities, sports, swimming, dancing, singing, I don't know, performing, whatever, and what kind of the experience they had by the end of this 21 day. I was so much amazed, and I was so embraced with this kids' kindness and, even tactile feeling of, I don't know, 40 kids around who keep on hugging you, who keep on, taking your hand and keep on calling you anytime. So it's just an amazing feeling that after those 21 days, I just had 3 days of a break, and they went for another shift for another 21 days. So can you imagine, that is my first summer of being an adult, and this is how I decided to spend it. So I had so many things to learn on the level of how to lead and to monitor what's happening, so that it's not pushy, but it's more like, appealing or attractive to kids, so that, you engage them, but also on the level between the other leaders and with the management of this camp. So it was quite a rough experience, in the meaning that it wasn't really an easy thing to do or a leisure thing, because we were really well organized and managed in this case, because all of us were just 18-year-olds. Can you imagine? I cannot comprehend it right now looking back. But this group dynamics that you learn what is possible, that is possible. I think this is what made me eventually choose working with larger groups and enjoying that. That's most probably why I decided to have a profession of teaching at the university.
Oh, interesting, because as an 18-year-old, I did exactly the same as you are describing now, one of the summers. And in my case, it was already after the second year of university. I finished school early, and 18 years old was already after year two learning at university as a psychologist. And so then, in my experience in a summer camp, organizing activities for young teenagers, I would call them, the same age more or less, 9-10 years old, and organizing activities based on what we had been learning at university, also understanding how group dynamics works, and which activities help do what in the course of this summer camp time for kids. It was an enjoyable experience, I would say, apart from getting sunburned, but that's another story. Anyway, I cannot say this led me to choosing teaching as a profession. This happened later. But this was one of those dots, if we continue talking of connecting the dots on our professional path and so on. Yeah, this is one of the important dots, I would say, of getting the first professional experience, the first working experience. And interestingly enough, not being burnt out. Yeah, getting sunburned, but not burnt out.
Most probably this is a good point here, because if you stay for your vacation within your professional interest or environment, I don't know. I know a lot of teachers spend years and years choosing going to summer camps and leading them all their summer long, for 2 shifts, for 3 shifts. That means that they are teaching all the year long, and all the summer long they're being and leading the summer camp life, which was fine for me the first 2 or 3 years of my studies. But then I understood that there are so many more things to discover, and that we got our first opportunity to travel abroad, so there were so many new things and activities to discover, so many new things to learn.
Well, yes, that's probably one of the reasons why kids around the world, in many countries where there is a tradition of taking a gap year after school, take this chance to volunteer in summer camps as one of the options. because it's a nice way to practice what you probably know, or to try doing activities that you enjoyed being a kid, and then teaching a younger generation the same games that you were playing as a child, and so on and so forth. But then you choose another professional path. Yeah, you rarely stay within the same activity if you chose to volunteer with kids in a summer camp for your gap year. Yeah, like you normally don't pursue this as your professional path. In rare cases, yeah, it can be, I believe, but most people go on and pursue another career and then develop professionally and so on.
I think very rarely people would choose to go to a summer camp for summer if they are super tired after the year of teaching. So I think that you really need to love it and to have it as your vacation. That's why, I don't know, maybe from the experience I had at least, there were amazing people who you would want to learn from. People who choose to spend their summer in this way, they normally are so inspiring, and those who you would really want to learn from. Just the same thing, if I can make the comparison here with the Italian university per stranieri. For the foreigners, the teachers who were teaching there were absolutely inspiring the way they do, and that they chose their summers to teach on the top of their teaching year.
What I learned over the years is that they actually take a vacation from time to time, even within the summer course. Yeah, some the teachers do the courses in June and July, then take a week or two of a vacation, then come back for the last 2 weeks of August, let's say. Others have a vacation early and then take over during July and August, working in shifts, more or less, you could say. Yeah, anyway, when they choose to work in this period of time, they are inspiring. They love what they do. They welcome you back every other year when you come back to the university, and it absolutely makes a difference in intercultural communication, in learning and teaching languages, and bringing your culture over the borders by means of other students who come and learn from you, and then take the not only the language but also the culture back to their countries of origin.
This is the intercultural exchange in the end, because like when you're having, I don't know, 15 people in the class and they come from 12 countries, so this is where this international mobility and intercultural competences, are being established and even forged.
In one group, having an Israeli and a Palestinian student learning Italian together, discussing what they have in common, is something that could solve global problems if there were more groups like that around the world.
What we can say, enjoy your summer, make your own choices. How do you want to live and learn during the summer?
Live and learn.
Live and learn.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you share Live and Learn philosophy, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all the major social media, comment, and spread the word about this podcast so that more people could get their weekly portion of growth mindset content. Live and learn.